Hello, guys. It's me, Ike, from the podcast. Before we begin, I have a couple things to say. Basically, one is that we talk about Jackknife, and I thought personally Jackknife won a Worlds, but it's Google Translate or whatever Twitter's translator they use, and it wasn't perfect. It actually won a shop. So, we explain that later on in the audio. But I just want to make sure you guys know that. Another thing is we do trash talk this one buddy fighter. Now, that one buddy fighter or us trash talking him does not represent buddy fighters. We just had to get, our emotions out of the way. And another thing I want to talk about is me in the video. I like to think I'm a good buddy fighter, but I am not. So, now after researching this stuff after doing the podcast that every deck is good now, but especially Godpunks. I don't know why I thought Godpunks was a bad deck, but Godpunks are actually pretty good. I just want to clarify that because I'm going to sound super stupid in this podcast. And one guy comes in late. Don't worry, he's called Goon Lagoon. He's there. And we also go on a little bit of a tangent, but try to keep along with the story, staying engaged, I guess. It's kind of interesting towards the end. And then one more thing I want to talk about before I go is I talk about the Buddy Fight marketing and how they market Buddy Fight, which is where we get off on our tangent. There was a special series 2, I believe it is, when the Vile Demonic Dragon Vanity Husk Destroyer, not the original Vanity Husk, but from the show standards of the original, that's when it first came out. Everyone was just confused because Lost World came in a special way, I guess. Anyways, that's it. Sorry for rambling on. I hope you enjoy the video, and I believe we're going to do more of this. I had a lot of fun time doing it, and I'm going to have a lot of fun time editing it. Thank you. Hey, what's up, guys? This is the TVR podcast, or whatever the hell we call it. Whoopsies. We don't know if this will even survive the beta round. But, first subject we're going to talk today is the meta. But we have 3 people here that are going to talk about it. Will be Aeon, Zareth, and me. Everyone say hello.
Howdy.
How does one say hello?
Hello. I do not know. I mean, I guess it's whatever you want, I guess,
Alright, so first I'm going to talk about garden. Is that even the proper name?
What's the proper name you want to talk about?
I'm pretty sure it's drawn.
It's what?
Ninja. He wants to talk about Draw Ninja.
Either Guard Ninjas or Drawn Ninjas.
I call it Guard Ninja.
Okay, we're going to talk about Gar Ninja. Me personally, I don't think Gar Ninjas are that good. Me personally, I mean, I've tried them, I've used them, I went against them. I mean,
I don't know, man.
I don't think they're good. Maybe they're good.
They've got plenty of tops to back them up. They're probably one of the best of the Garga decks.
Yep, being able to bounce stuff, drop stuff from hand, especially the spell knolls.
Yeah, it's a very solid deck. It's not like the top of the meta, but it's definitely there, and it's something that you would have to look out for.
Yep.
Alright. The next one I want to talk about is 5th Omni. I was surprised when I looked that up, and they're actually topping. I couldn't believe it, but 5th Omnis are actually good still.
Yeah. It's a deck that's never going to be bad, per se. It's just, as time goes on, as decks get faster, it's not that the deck is slow, it's just other decks are faster now. It's definitely has a good concept there, and it's very powerful even in today's meta. But yeah, it's a really good deck.
What's your opinion?
It's still really good because it punishes your opponent for dealing damage.
Yeah, but don't a lot of the cards still damage themselves? I mean, you do get pluses off of it, but when games are fast with height.
On your team, you get even more.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying because when decks are getting fast with high critical now, and you're still damaging yourself. It's like a one-sided game. But yeah, Fifth Omnis was still good. I looked at the deck recipe, and the guy has a solid build. So I don't know why he got number 1. What do you want to talk about, Zerif?
I already talked about one. It's Aeon's now.
Oh, Aeon, what do you want to talk about?
I guess we can get the odd one out of the way. Talk about Jackknife.
Yep, Jackknife somehow won, I think it was either a tournament shop or some big thing in Japan, but yeah, Jackknife won.
Yeah, that's very surprising. I mean, the deck has the tools, but you just think it's too inconsistent to top, but I guess not.
I mean, one of the things that I thought personally why it was surprising is because it's just an old deck. I mean, I think it got maybe another card or two, in the lineage set, I believe, but still.
It was a card shop.
Oh, it was a card shop. Oh, still though. I mean, I didn't expect it to win, even in a card shop. That must mean either A, people have really bad decks, or B, he was super lucky in that card shop.
Yep. So the next deck is
God Punks. I, believe God Punks are not that good, but they're just, need a little bit more oomph before they're
not
OP.
That good? What? They screw over
They still have tops. It's a deck that you essentially can't really play around because even if you use up all your gauge, they can give you more gauge. And if you play against Godpunks, you're playing on their terms no matter what. Basically.
Well, everyone, we can see that Ike's very bad at the game apparently because he doesn't get anybody. I've never got a Godpunks player. I mean, I've played against them sometimes, a year ago, or 6 months ago, or whatever.
Other than Lost World, that can get past Max Dragon.
Well, yeah, because with the gauge and all that stealing or whatever.
No, it's because Brawlzius can actually send the Max Dragons and the spells with his call cost.
Let's say you have a size 4 Max Dragon on the field and you have spell. They call Brawlzius. They send the spell to drop. And then your Max Dragon auto gets put to drop from overset.
Well, Godpunks are God tier. Okay. You have convinced me. Blender is so good and needs to be, more prints of it, I guess. Every card just has to have a Blender cost. Alright, let's talk about Dimension Dragons. Let's just get that out of the way. Why not?
Hey, Yankee, that one's all you, bro.
Alright, Dimension Dragons with, Lost World. Oh my gosh, okay. It's just consistency is just on the board. Alright? And what a lot of people said was a misplay, apparently, with the item, I forget what the item is called, I'll probably have it on screen, but you can just stand on non-existent Dimension Dragon and draw a card, so,
Actually, no, you can't.
It was apparently on the website or whatever, of Japan's website.
Really?
Yeah, the Japan website said you can stand on non-existent, Dimension Dragon, and you can draw your card. It was on the Japanese website.
Look at the wording on that. Because if it says if you do draw a card, then you can't draw. But if it's if it just says nothing like that, then I guess you could. I mean, Buddyfight has weird wordings. Honestly though, I think Dimension Dragons are probably on the lower tier of the meta. They're good, but they're easy to play around, and if they don't have a field, they don't really have plays. And a lot of decks can get your field off very easily,
Yeah, I can see what you mean by that. I mean, I was just, I can tell because if you watch the one gameplay we got, Dimension Dragons were in a very tough spot going into Bloody Eyes because the guy didn't have a board and he really couldn't do much. The only reason why he won basically was because of,
Oh yeah, I read the card. I read the card Krakia. With the wording it has, you probably most likely can draw because it says if you do stand the chosen card. but I don't know. Like it's weird because it says choose a Dimension Dragon monster, but Buddyfight has weird rulings. So if Bushiroad says, then Bushiroad says. So
Yep. I next deck. Let's. Why not Bloody Eyes?
Oh, that brings back bad memories.
yeah,
I
it's a really good control deck. It has a lot of decks that counter it, but I would say it's a good gatekeeper because if you can't really deal with Bloody Eyes or stuff like that, your deck's gonna struggle because it's a pretty common deck, especially with Lost World. So I think it's a really good gatekeeper of the meta.
Well, the thing is, the really only big problem I have is Max Dragons. They really can't get over Max Dragons, but everything else they're like super good with
yeah.
because of that
Bloody
heavy
Eyes
soul.
easily takes an L to Max Dragon.
Yeah, with the big soul and Bloody Eyes nullifying attack abilities, or just abilities and all,
Yeah.
like Soul Guard and whatnot. But I just feel like it's still good because it can nullify things and force attacks, which is always good, especially with the upgraded Bloody Eyes. That just like, hey, guess what? Everything attacks me if you have Fake Heart.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, I don't have much else with Bloody Eyes.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a solid deck. It has a lot of counters. So I don't think it could ever really tip top, but it's definitely valuable.
Alright, so next deck is actually one of Aeon's favorite, I think.
Lost Shades. Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about it.
Yeah, one of my favorite Magic World decks. The new Silhouette Joe from Buddy Lineage just it takes all the problems that Shadow Shades had
Oh, oh,
and just
and don't
annihilates
forget
it.
the new set spell.
Oh yeah, and the new set spell. It allows you to get so many cards. You can use your drop zone basically as a second hand, and you can actually use the new Silhouette Joe to get Lost World from your drop zone, put it into Joe's soul, then use the set spell to add Lost World to your hand. It's a very good deck, and then when you combine that defense, because the new Joe cannot be nullified, you can't take effect damage or anything like that, so you've got a pretty solid defense. And every turn, even your opponent's turn, it adds a card to soul, and it also deals the damage to them. So you're chipping at them while building up your defenses, and you just have all the control cards that Magic World has just to back it all up. Narcolepsy, the new Walaria card, just all the control.
Oh yeah, especially with Walaria.
Yeah, I'm not too happy for the meta because I've always hated Shades, and I, am very sad that they got support. But hey, what can you do? Except cry. I mean, I'm glad they did get support in a way too, because I mean, it is a very fan favorite deck, even though me personally, it's not my favorite. I have a couple of buddies in real life that play not Lost Shades, but Shades. And just the ability to get Lost World from your drop zone, right? It's just like almost god tier.
Yep, so no matter where it goes, other than Gage, you'll have access to it.
Oh yeah, and just looping Oliver in itself is just really good for you. It adds life, adds gauge, adds cards.
If you're about a deck out, just go into Lost.
Yeah.
Now the deck that Ike likes the least, Draw Metal.
I mean, I just hate going against it. I mean, I love using it. Don't get me wrong. I've made a lot of people mad using Draw Metal. A lot of people.
Yeah.
The thing about Draw Metal is it just has, that the ability to get spells for days is just, like bizarre. You can just keep using all these counter spells that do this and that. It's just annoying.
Yeah, decks really struggle against it.
And I really hate this certain card. It's going to be very hard for me to pronounce, and I'm just going to put it on the screen as well. It's called Turlake or something. They pronounce it very weird in the Japanese. It's like the ability where you can pay one life.
so hard.
What draw metal does.
Yeah.
And I remember playing against them like a couple of days ago, but like they somehow get a lot of cards in hand. Like they can just consistently have, I think it's like either 3 or 4 cards in hand, which I mean is a low number, but I mean they can consistently have it.
Yeah.
Which is just annoying to deal with because they can get so many pluses off of it. That's all I have to say about draw metal. What do you have to say? Anything else?
How about we go through one more deck, then we can go into the next section.
Which would be
so
Lost World?
Aeon or Ike, choose a deck.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of decks that are here. I mean,
well, let's talk about the one that should be named because they're just, super max awesome.
oh god,
Max Dragons and how they're actually, pretty dang good. I don't know. I honestly like Max Dragons because
they can just do so much.
They can do so much. You get that like
side. Can't be nullified, can't be rest, can't be destroyed.
Yeah.
You have that size 5.
On top of all that,
yeah,
it is the actual most consistent deck in the game. Like, there's no deck that is more consistent than them. Period. They search everything.
It's almost like it's a
everything they need. The draw power is insane.
It's a win-win deck. No, yeah, but like I've used Max Dragons once just to try them out, but when I go against people against Max Dragons, I literally can't do anything unless I have like consistently 20 shields in my hand or something bizarre like that. That was an exaggeration, but you need like a lot of shields in hand or like penetrate nullifiers or something.
Yeah. For a lot of decks, their only real out to max is actually Lost World.
Yeah, and that's the subject I would like to talk about. Lost World. Yeah. Lost World is just too easy to use. I mean, you can literally have it in any deck, and it makes any deck literally easy win.
But that's the good thing. You can use it in any deck. There is no excuse.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's so easy to use is my big problem. It makes horrible players like me. I mean, I would like to say I'm a good player in the game, but, before Lost World, I was absolute crap. But, since I have a Lost World now, I can literally be the best player almost. Top tier player because of Lost World. It's just there's no risk to using it. You have, like, monsters that are just so powerful, like, it's just like, why not use it?
That's my issue with Lost World is it's splashable in almost every deck, but because every deck can use it, it almost feels a little bit RNG. It just feels a bit luck based because you could be having this really even game and then all of a sudden they just like, oh hey, I managed to get Lost World, and it's like, well, what do you do then? I wish there was more risk to it, and if you have to dedicate your deck to Lost World, but no, you can just put it in anything. And I don't like that. It's not that I don't like Lost World itself. I just wish there was some consequence to it.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I love Lost World. I don't hate it. I've been talking bad about it, but I love it. But like I said, it's just too easy to use. Honestly, maybe in the future, I don't know, but I feel like Lost World is not going to be used anymore because they're just going to have to ban it. Maybe.
Aeon.
Yeah.
Don't mind if I do.
Don't.
Oh no. Yeah, it's time for the "Don't mind if I do" segment. We're just gonna don't mind if I do.
No, this is your subject. Come on, man. What do you want to talk about?
Let's just talk briefly about the BFA community, and just, specifically, there's a specific person that, does the updates, and, they're like, hey, I made these updates, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's cool. it's like, thank you. And it's like, you know, you like these? And he's like, I do. And you're just like,
Especially
okay,
when
well,
you
we're gonna sacrifice to you one island Mexican.
hey,
Yeah, what up?
especially when you do it.
Yeah, and he moans, and then he moans even louder than before.
You know,
I think we're.
you want to know something? You don't go halfway, a 16th of the way. You go all the way in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all the way in. Like you can't do anything but all the way in.
Yeah. And you gotta make
Yeah.
sure it drips, not like splats or like bursts. It just
Yeah,
drips.
it has to drip, and you gotta make sure they eat it too.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, and if they say, "Oh my," it's extra. Extra points there. There, that's enough of that.
Okay, next, new card. 'Cause
Yes. We want to talk about the new cards. I have 3 that I want to talk about. I don't know
go
about
ahead.
the other people, but one of the cards
So
I would like
new
to talk
cards and
about
sets would be after True Awakening of the Deities.
would Scarbind be one of them, I hope.
Yes.
Okay, Scarbind, in my opinion, is probably one of the best cards that
Wait, is Starfire? Yeah.
I think it. Wait, I forget
Yeah,
what
it's
deck
Golden
uses
Dark.
it. I forget the.
Curse dragons.
Oh yeah, Cursed
It's
Dragons.
Golden Dark.
The what?
It's from Golden Dark. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just gonna say that Scarbind, when it is used by Cursed Dragons, is honestly one of the best cards ever. I forget which card like Rest, but it's like a Drago Shrep, but better. It's like all you need to do is have a Cursed Dragon on field. You rest a card, and then if there's 8 or more, you rest everything on field. Or is it all monsters?
Yeah. It's everything.
I mean,
It's everything,
Rest all
so it's
cards.
just good.
it's good. It's sort of a more restrictive narcolepsy. Obviously, with less of a cost. I don't even think it has any cost to it. But
No
it's not
cost.
something you're gonna be able to,
The thing I
just
want to
immediately
talk
just say,
about
okay, I
is
rest your whole field.
Well, there's no
the,
cost,
the
but you
thing
have
I
to
want.
have a Cursed Dragon on
Yeah,
field.
and that's gonna take a few turns.
Or to get the full effect of it, you need 8 cards in the
Yeah.
under the flag. So yeah, it'll take probably a couple turns, but still, I honestly think it's a great card.
Oh yeah, it's definitely good. It has its flaws, but it's definitely good. Definitely.
Alright, so the card I want to talk about is actually Gale.
The
Oh,
what?
Gale.
The new Gale?
Blade.
Oh, okay.
Black Dragon Sword Gale Blade.
It's your card. Talk about
It's just in general really good. It's anti-destruction. Kind of stops 72 pillars, and their abilities can't be nulled. So, and then you can just rest it, pay gauge, slide one under. No, slide one under the flag, and then if you have 2 or more under the flag, you draw one.
it. I can't find out on Buddy Spoiler because I'm trash at this podcast game.
It's Golden Garga, the Golden Garga.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I do agree that it's a good card because I really like the anti-destruction part of it. I just think anything you can get back in your hand is just amazing. Like Blazer Frail or whatever her name is. I forgot her name real quick.
Yeah.
But just pay 1 gauge. I think it was for her. You get it back into the hand. And what is?
No, it's
Dragon?
Mass Advantage, but yeah, it's the heroine archetype.
And then I think what is the Cursed Dragon Gale Blade one? Is it 1 life or 1 gauge? I forgot.
1 life.
Yeah, I think it's 1 life. Pretty sure.
Yep.
Yeah, Gale is definitely pretty good. It synergizes with the deck really well.
Then also, Gale is actually really good because on enter you pop something.
Next card. Is there any card you want to talk about, Aeon, or no?
Yeah, I guess I want to talk about Venom Swamp.
Oh, yeah.
The Venom Swamp.
Uh, so one of the most hyped up decks that I've been hyped up for, even before we even knew what the deck was called, anything. I really like the aesthetic of Owen. Um, I feel like it's gonna be a deck that's just really inconsistent. I love the concept of it. It's really cool, but you know, being able to mill like just gobs and gobs of cards like that, like Venom Dragons do, it's so good. But just oh man, there's just you have to run so many Venom Swamps that like you can end up
So,
bricking
like,
because of them.
eventually, all you'll have in hand is just Venom Swamp.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I like the aspect of whenever a card that says you may have any number of whatever in the deck, I just like them because, you can run literally 50 cards
It just
of the
reminds you
exact
of
same
Shadow
card.
Dragon.
man,
Yeah.
must really like mummies.
Yeah, Mummy. I ran a 50 card Mummy deck once just for the meme, and it was pretty bad, but for the meme, it was pretty great.
Yeah.
One of the cards I wanted to talk about was Tidy Effect. It's basically saying I think you need like a jaw god on your field or something, but in open center you nullify the attack when your opponent attacks, right? And the next time you would take damage is reduced to 0. So it's like basically, 2 protections for 1. And I honestly think it's a good card, but having an open center is always a risky move regardless. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's a good card, but not a great card.
Well, usually, Dragod decks, DDT decks, they usually have their center open anyways. So it's not really changed much because you're doing that anyways, because you usually have a weapon and you're usually attacking with, in most cases, anyways.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, the cost is 1 gauge, but I honestly still think it's a good card
Well,
because
definitely.
it's like a price 2 for 1 deal. So I mean, yes, they do play with an open center, but to me, it's just always risky to have an open center in this format. Well, not always risky, but most of the time, I guess.
Yeah.
What card do you want to talk about, Zerif? Another one or no?
I want to talk about the new Kurogane, actually.
Which says that one from? Violence Vanity?
Yeah, Violence.
Okay.
Honestly, I prefer the old one.
Yeah, I kind of prefer the old one too. I see what the new one does, but
It's literally the same thing, except instead of gaining 2 life, you gain 1 life and 1 game.
yeah, but it nullifies. So I mean, it has its uses definitely.
I mean, so the other one also nullified. Wait, does
I
it
don't
nullify?
I don't think it did. Pretty
Is
sure
that
it
gotcha?
doesn't.
No, I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah, it
But
did
the
nullify.
gaining 1 gauge and 1 life, I mean, it pays for itself, so I mean, that's what's
It
good.
doesn't. The old one doesn't. At the start of each player's attack phase, if you have a Excel blade and stand, destroy a card on the field. So yeah, it doesn't nullify, but the new one does.
Ah,
Oh, okay.
I mean, sure it nullifies, but
Yeah.
I mean,
I
the
would
old
definitely say
one.
it's definitely a card you would play. It definitely
yeah,
has its uses.
Well, I
I
mean,
feel like
yeah.
I prefer the old one because you also get the deal 2. So,
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess more playtesting will reveal its true
yeah.
colors, I guess.
Alright, so Aeon.
Mhm.
Any card you want to talk about?
Yeah. I wanted to talk about Curse Dragons win con Sentence of Curse. Their set spell that lets them win the game.
Go ahead.
Oh man. So I love alternate win cons. Like I had no interest in the Curse Dragons until this card, just because I love alternate win cons. In Vanguard, I love Glendios. I love Gize. I love all the alt stuff. So this card is just so cool to me. And I like the timer thing. It's basically saying, okay, you can play, but you're playing on a timer. And they got so many cards in Curse Dragons, they're just kind of control oriented, and they're basically just saying you can't play Buddy Fight right now, and if you can, you're playing hindered. Ugh. I mean, it does. You can counter. You can use Rawsius to get rid of the set spell, but it can't be gotten rid of with normal means. But it's just to me. I think it's really cool. And it also speeds up them getting cards under their flag.
Bad player here, but couldn't he use that one Abigail and use the instant kill one
Overturn.
or the overturn one? Would it be good in
Mhm.
this deck or no? Just wondering.
I mean,
I
you
mean,
could
if
tech it. Uh, I mean, it's definitely not bad. I mean, it does let you kind of accelerate stuff. Um, I wouldn't play too many though. I'd probably like maybe run two at the most, probably like one just for the random, because they wouldn't expect it. They're like, oh, they're playing Curse Dragons. Who's gonna be using Overturn?
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it would be good because, it's like you saying, you can't play Buddy Fight. And if you can't, you're going to be playing Hindered. So, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last card I want to talk about, which is going to be a bad card, it's going to be called Despair Derater. Alright? And here's the effect. Choose and use one of the following two. Put cards from the top of your deck into your gauge equal to the number of Dimension Dragons on your field, or you gain life equal to the number of Dimension Dragons on your field. I don't know. What is your opinion on it? I feel like it's a bad card because you have
What
to
card
have.
is it?
It's called Despair Derater. The reason why I think it's bad is because you have to have 4 cards on field to get the maximum effect, or 5 if they have a set spell. I forget if Dimension
Is that a
Dragons have a
Dimension
set spell.
Dragon?
Yeah, it's from Violence Vanity.
No, what size is it?
Oh no, it's just a spell. It says choose and want to use the
Oh,
following two.
all right, let me look. It's bad. I mean, if it was counter, it would be decent. Not really as like a four of, but definitely maybe like a one of, two of. Just to be able to save you in certain situations. But it being a just you can only play it during your main phase. It's not really good. I would definitely
yeah,
agree it's pretty bad.
And Bushiroad. Why do you gotta make bad cards with very good art? Come on.
You know,
Despair
it's
Derater looks super cool, but it's a bad card.
mm,
Any other cards anyone else wants to talk about?
nope.
Preferably only one of if you want to talk about another one, maybe?
let me
What about
think.
you, Aaron?
Oh yeah, the new Vanity.
The
Oh
new
yeah,
Vanity. Okay.
Yeah, new Vanity. I think this is a really cool card. Being able to say, okay, yeah, you just got rid of my big bad Lost World card. Surprise! It just pulls up on you. It's like, oh, hey, you wanna let me summon? And Vanity's like, don't mind if I do. You know. But it's a really good card. Maybe not every deck can use it because but if you have a deck that already naturally has draw cards, and then you save those draw cards for when you Lost World because you know you're gonna Lost World, and then you draw into APOC, and then you can just say, all right, I put this board out. They use one of their
don't
counter
mind
spells,
if I
one of their
do.
last counter spells, and then you just pull out that dude, and then it's just like GG. Good game, good fight. It's a really good card. I like it.
My biggest favorite part of the card is, it's just whenever a monster is destroyed, whenever a Lost World monster is destroyed, So it can be during your opponent's turn, boom, you summon a guy that basically wipes out 2 cards and all their soul.
Yep.
So that's one of the big reasons why I like the card. It's just like a huge counter, plus you have a big beefy monster with it.
You guys ready to move on to the next topic?
We're going to be talking about the anime
Yep.
and a certain controversy. Yeah, it's not really a controversy. It's just everyone was surprised at least.
The Dan got yeeted.
He got
Yeah.
death. That not alive is what we would call it in Buddy Fight. Not alive.
Yeah. You know, Vanity used Dodon to quench his thirst.
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like maybe since this is Buddy Fight, right? I feel like the Don's gonna come back as like a darker person or something, more loyal, darker person. I don't know what to say. He's just gonna be more edgy, I guess.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like Buddy Fight would like kill off a character, but hey, I don't know. If you read the manga, apparently it's like worse. Like the Don gets like not eaten, but like stabbed then eaten apparently.
Oof.
In the manga,
I mean,
apparently.
they have like kind of implied death for like superior characters like Wataru, the Shadow Shade player. He got put in like a dimensional rift or whatever, and like you never saw him again.
No, he was at the end of Triple D. He showed up.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he was at the end of Triple D. He
Oh
survived.
dang, I never
Wait,
saw him.
really?
A
Because, like,
goon lagoon comes out of nowhere.
I mean, his buddy opened that rift, so I'm assuming his buddy could just get him out. I think they were just stuck there for a little bit. He got what he got what was coming to him.
Yeah, true. Wataru was
He was just like,
Mhm.
lost shades don't exist yet, so I have to be a dick.
Wait, did you say a goon or the other one?
I'm cross that ass.
I don't know. I might have to censor that when I go back, but I don't know what you said. Sorry.
It would probably sound worse if you censored it because it's like, oh, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what he said.
Trying to get this video demonetized. I mean,
yeah. So, Goon, were you here when we were talking about the Don's death?
Yeah.
What is your opinion?
Like that should happen in 100. It was like people got eaten, and then they come back obviously after the villain's defeated because it's not like they're actually gonna kill him off. If anything, Bushiroad will bring him back because his deck is popular enough and is a meta deck. They'll probably just bring it back just to give it sprinkle support at some point to be like, shit, we have to make more money. With Don's dead, right? Oh fuck, bring him back.
Yeah. Other than Don's death, well, actually, Zara, have you said anything about it?
I mean, it's a death in a children's card game. You tell me.
Other than the Don's death, how are you liking the anime so far, guys?
Anime is dead though.
Exactly.
What do you mean the anime is dead? I mean, comedic relief will always be living on in our hearts, alright? Always.
I don't know, man.
The Ace anime is
fun for what it is.
It's fine, but like there's like some problems with storytelling because like they'll be like, we have to talk about this. We have to talk about the plot for like 2 minutes every episode, but it's always at the very end because apparently Yuga is literally blind to what the hell is happening in the story. He's not relevant to the plot.
I mean,
it's like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 when all that stuff was happening, and then they're just like, man, I sure hope Yuya's okay. And then he's like somewhere else for like the entire season. It's like the plot doesn't revolve around you, so like why do I care what happens to you?
Don't bring back that, okay? Don't. Those are some bad nightmares for the anime, alright?
Like Garga's gonna evolve next episode because we need to make Eden a jobber, I guess. Whatever. I mean, we can't have Garga losing to Dark Venom Dragons, FTK.
Oh. No. Alright, so.
Bet is literally just a bunch of stuff, and then he just used 10 field canceler.
Dude, that was like literally 5 minutes. That was not 10 minutes, but alright.
Hey, Goon, when are you gonna upload IRL Buddy Fight? Since the next topic is the Buddy Fight market.
IRL Buddy Fights, bro? I don't live in an area where Buddy Fight is popular enough.
Oh.
It's like my locals, like Buddy Fight locals is like maybe 2 people, and then they just give up and then take out Vanguard.
Oof.
My town's so small we don't even have any kind of locals. Like there's only like 5,000 people in this town, and most of them are old people.
Well,
I'm ready
mine
for, like,
is
Magic the Gathering.
my locals is like an hour away, so I mean that's pretty much of a big dedication. But
Exactly. Like, if you're not in an area that supports Buddyfight, there's no point to actually buying cards. 'Cause otherwise, you just be sitting there and you wasted your money. Like, buy a lost deck and then be like, my locals is 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Like, man, I spent $250 on this Vanity House Destroyer, and I had to spend $20 on gas.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like they should just reprint Vanity.
Just be like Aichi, just pulling random cards out in fucking class. Like, oh, I wonder what that is.
Mm-mm.
Head
okay,
ass.
so that's actually the next subject we're talking about. Buddy Fight's marketing and how I personally feel like it's crap, and they need to do something about it.
I barely remember. I barely knew Buddyfight existed, and until people were just like, "Yo, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5." Like
It's
that's
better
how
than
I was
Arc 5,
introduced-
okay? It's better, okay?
That's how I was introduced to Buddyfight. They were just like, "Yo, Guy M became Zark. Watch Buddyfight." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll watch this anime, I guess."
I don't know. Okay,
Like,
so
I would have never seen it if it wasn't for like the Vanguard anime, because they always have like the commercials. And even then, like the name's just it's a big turnoff to a lot of people. They're just like Buddy Fight. That sounds like something like fucking 5-year-olds would play. Like, oh, I got my little buddy here. Like trying to get their mom to play with them.
Meanwhile, they probably play like Luck and Logic, and then rip the game's dead.
Yeah.
Ooh. You're bringing
I always
back
wondered how
old
they go, but
nightmares.
They never really were good simulator.
We're trying to get sponsored by Bushiro. Don't bring up bad nightmares, please.
Alright, yeah. No, talking about Dragonborn.
Ugh.
I mean, remember when Vanguard got rebooted for no reason?
Vanguard needed that reboot, man. It needed that reboot, okay?
They're just like, what if we made all your cards worthless?
But it did make it worthless because people thought Standard was going to be great, but then Standard was trash. But then Premium was really good for a little while. But then they made Premium trash because they, like, just started making these unhealthy combos. And that's why I ended up quitting Vanguard, just because it didn't seem like they were really caring about balance.
Buddy Fight podcast, we derail into Luck and Logic, Dragonborn.
No, because that's the thing, though.
Vanguard.
No, because that's the thing. Bushiroad's marketing is like totally geared towards Vanguard. Buddy Fight is just like, oh yeah, this is a game we also have, by the way. Check it out, I guess.
Just a little bit of
but meanwhile, how about this Vanguard?
Okay, so the price of Buddy Fight, I feel like for the most part, one of their statements, I believe, in the beginning was we're trying to make this game cheaper for people. And yeah, I can see it's a lot cheaper for the most part, except when we're coming to Vanity, Lossless Buster, and all those sort of ordeals.
Lost decks that are required, and meanwhile, you're just like, oh, Bushiro, yeah, we're going to reprint these cards? No.
Bushiro, please make a Golden Buddy Pack 2.0 that we want. Maybe like, golden cards of items, maybe?
Make a Golden Vanity House Destroyer.
Oh, God.
Yeah, yes, there. The next subject I want to talk about is the shortage of boxes. So Dimension Gate, it's not a new set. It's only been out for like 3 months, right? Dimension Gate.
Oh.
I think it was like a special booster, maybe, or something like that.
You mean the Ranma pack, the starter deck for Lost World?
No. There's another set. I guess I'll put it on screen, but it's called like Dimension Gate. It's where the original Vanity was released.
Lost Dimension. I see.
Maybe it's called Lost Dimension. I don't know. I typed in Lost Dimension and it came out with a Shio deck.
Oh, I see a Dimension Gate. It's,
you mean Dimension Destroyer?
Yeah, Dimension Destroyer.
Okay,
That's what I've been saying.
That's what I've been trying to explain.
You were talking about like where the original Lost World cards, like you mean the trial deck, right? Like that was the first Lost World shit to come out.
Okay, I'll give you that. That was my mistake. But Dimension Gate, like I said, it's not a new set. It came out 3 months ago at the time of this recording. maybe 4 months because it was November 2nd, but still, is when it came out. And, everywhere, I just can't find it online. I just can't find it anywhere. eBay, Amazon, like TCG Player, TCG Gen, just they're nowhere to be found.
Craigslist?
I will not do that. I tried that once with that could be a story time video of trying to get Yu-Gi-Oh cards from a Craigslist ad, but
Alright, so you guys about ready to end this podcast?
in this
got derailed.
nightmare,
no cross.
I'm really
Cross
in
is,
this nightmare.
Cross is busy being a default.
A bot, okay. Well, this is going to be the end of the whatever we call it podcast. We might not do it after again. I'm going to try, but this is kind of bad. Editing is going to be a nightmare. We have no sponsors, so I can't end with a sponsorship, ad. But
hey, we
It's
can
sponsored by these nuts.
we can.
we're not
we can
sponsored by
Buddy
someone
Jacoby.
actually. What, Aeon? Sorry about that.
We can just advertise Buddy Jacoby. Just be like, hey, check out
You
Buddy
right,
Jacoby's
you
channel.
You're right. Yeah, Buddy Jacoby, he's a really good, video maker. He makes somewhat consistent content, you know what I mean? It's pretty good.
Somewhat? You mean like every 5 months?
Yeah. I mean, he's still pretty good though. You can't lie about that. Pretty good. He's a pretty good pal tuber, in my opinion.
So
this was.
Will be the end of this stream, podcast.
My name is.
My name. That's Vanity's ultimate plan to get the most subscribers. He's like, I did it, Garga. I have more subscribers than you on PalTube.
This is me, Vile Ike Sinbad Haragi, signing off. Anyone else want to sign off or no?
No.
No. I hate this podcast.
Well, guys, we did. We reached 250,000 of seconds of my life wasted. No, I don't know how long I did on editing. Well, I did a fair bit amount of editing on it, believe it or not the special effects or adding pictures. There were just some minor issues with the audio that I had to fix. Because some people were talked over. I had to edit that out. I had to lower some people and higher some parts of the video. So it was just a nightmare. Anyways, I'm really hoping you guys enjoy the video. I did have to censor some stuff. We are vile, but he said, someone said something way too far extreme. And yes, we did say the F word. Apparently, it's fine. That's vile enough, but some of the stuff that was said, I had to cut that out because it just got that bad. But yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really want to do more of this, even though the editing was a nightmare, but I had a lot of fun, so I'm going to try to convince the other people to do more podcasting. Anyways, guys, have a great day or night wherever you live, and remember, Johnny.